If you're going to the gym and you're working your ass off, but you are not focusing on your nutrition, you are selling your progress and results short in the gym. So today we're gonna go over how to set up your nutrition for a successful bulk so that you can maximize the amount of muscle that you build and minimize the amount of body fat that you gain. And at the end of the video, I'm also gonna take you through a full example day of eating to show you what that could look like. Now, one of the most important things that you could do when you're bulking is to make sure that you're in a caloric surplus. You need to be eating more calories that we're burning in order to build new lean muscle mass. And if you are not tracking the amount of food that you're eating and you're not eating in a consistent caloric surplus, you're not gonna see the results you wanna see. So I left a link down in the comment section below the like button, where you can go click on that link, fill out a form, and I'll personally calculate your macros and get it back to you for free. I'll tell you how many carbs, fat, protein that you need to be eating to see the results you wanna see in the gym. Each individual is gonna be very different, and we wanna make sure that we're tailoring the amount of macros that we need to each individual. So, like I said, after you're done watching this video, go down in the comment section, click on that link, fill out that form, and I'll send you back your macros for free. So like I said, we're gonna go over bulking nutrition today. I'm gonna give you the full guide on types of foods that you should eat. Like I said, at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you a full example day of what that could look like for you. And the only thing that I'm gonna mention about training today is just make sure that when we're going into the gym, that we're providing a stimulus. So if you eat a caloric surplus, you're eating more calories than you burn, but you're not going into the gym, you're not training hard, you're not overloading, you're not pushing yourself, you're not gonna put on muscle mass, you're gonna put on body fat. I actually just uploaded a video the other day. I'll leave the link in the description below. You can go watch it after you're done watching this one. But in this video, I show you 3 ways you can overload your muscles other than just adding weight. So the only thing I'm gonna say about training today, and then we'll get into the nutrition, is just make sure that you're pushing yourself in the gym, that you're overloading consistently, and you're giving your body a reason to change. So first, let's talk about meal timing. Most people are gonna have lots of different schedules. They're gonna have different responsibilities that they have to attend to throughout the day. But the best way to structure your nutrition is around 3 meals and 2 snacks, or 3 meals and 3 snacks. This is the best way to where you can space your food out evenly throughout the day. Also, if you're eating 5 or 6 times throughout the day, it's gonna be easier to get into a caloric surplus. As you get deeper into a caloric surplus, you might realize that, man, it's really hard to eat more food than my body needs. You might get some pushback from your body. There might be times where eating there, you're not necessarily hungry. This is perfectly normal. But if you're eating 5 or 6 times throughout the day, like I said, it's gonna be easier to get into that caloric surplus. The way that I personally structure it, and the way that I structure it for lots of my clients, is that we're gonna eat our main meals. So we're gonna eat a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. We're also gonna have 2 to 3 snacks throughout the day. So there might be a mid-morning snack, there might be an early afternoon snack, and there might even be a snack before bedtime. This is the best way that you can space your macros and your calories out, so that one, you can hit those macros, hit those calories, but also as far as nutrient absorption, if you're only eating 2 meals throughout the day and you're splitting up half of your food on one and half on the other, the absorption of those nutrients is not gonna be as good. So eating 5, 6 times a day is gonna help you absorb those nutrients, it's gonna help you space everything out, and it's gonna help you stay consistent. For example, say that someone was trying to eat 200 grams of protein per day, and if they only split it up into 3 meals a day, they'd have to eat like 65, 70 grams of protein per meal, which might be really challenging for them. Versus if they ate 5 times a day, they could split it up, eat 3 meals, 2 snacks, and at each meal, each snack, they're gonna try and consume 40 grams of protein. And this is gonna get them to their 200 grams of protein. So the best way to do, space it out, 3 meals, 2 snacks, or 3 meals and 3 snacks. That's gonna lead me right to my next point of the quality of food that you're choosing. Now, just because you're bulking, doesn't mean that you're hitting up Mickey D's or that you're hitting up these fast food restaurants and you're trying to get as many calories as you can. We still should be prioritizing 80 to 90% of our food around whole food sources. Things like lean meats, things like good carbohydrate sources, things like good fat sources. By eating these types of foods, it's gonna fuel your body so you could come in, you could train hard in your workouts and give you good quality foods to where we're not gonna be in this crazy caloric surplus where we're just putting on a lot of body fats that we're gonna eventually have to cut back down. So make sure 80 to 90% of the time you're eating quality foods. Now I practice balance and I preach balance because it's the only way to sustain your fitness and stay with your program. And I don't think that you should eat chicken and rice every single meal for the rest of your life. So you can enjoy those meals with your family. You can go out, have a date night with your significant other. That's perfectly fine. But 80 to 90% of the time, you should structure food around lean proteins, chicken, turkey, beef, fish, good carbohydrate sources like rice, potatoes, oatmeals, whole wheat breads, good fat sources like oils, avocados, nut butters. These foods are going to be very high quality and they're going to help you get enough calories fuel your body for those workouts, but also not go crazy, add a bunch of body fat that, like I said, eventually we're gonna have to cut back down. So let's talk about a full example of a full day of eating. Now, like I said, after you're done watching this video, go click on that link in the comments. You can fill out that form and I'll personally calculate your macros for free and I'll get those back to you. Because this example is just an example. It's gonna look very different for different people. I'm not gonna put specific amounts. I'm just gonna give you ideas of foods that you can eat at each meal and each snack to give you kind of a guide on how to structure your day, what to eat, what types of foods you should be eating. The quantity is gonna look different depending on what your specific macros are. So like I said, this is just a general outline that you can follow. Is going to help you provide some support, some structure to your nutrition. So for breakfast, typically what I recommend is you start the morning off with some eggs, some egg whites, and either some oatmeal or some toast. Like I said, the quantity is going to be different for each person, but the combination of eggs and egg whites is going to help you get some fat. It's also going to minimize the fat. So if you're just eating like 5 or 6 whole eggs, 5 eggs is going to give you 25 to 30 grams of protein, but it's also going to give you 25 to 30 grams of fat. So by mixing in a couple whole eggs and then a couple egg whites, that's going to help boost the protein content of that breakfast while minimizing the fat content. I would also select some sort of toast, bagel, English muffin, or you can even do things like oatmeal. Just make sure that there's not a ton of added sugar in these breads or in the oatmeal, and make sure that you're getting the amount of carbohydrates that you need. Another good option would be to add some fruit here at breakfast, especially if you're eating a lot of calories or you need a lot of calories. This is a good way to add some extra carbs into your breakfast that's going to help you get into that caloric surplus. So between your breakfast and your lunch, you're gonna hit a mid-morning snack. Now, typically what I recommend here is to do some sort of protein bar, protein shake, and a piece of fruit. Some good protein bars that I recommend are gonna be Quest bars, One bars. There's even some higher calorie bars out there that you can use, especially if this is you where you need more calories to get into a caloric surplus and to build muscle. This is where you might wanna opt for a higher calorie bar. Also mixing in a piece of fruit, again, it's just going to give you some carbohydrates. It's going to be very easily transportable because a lot of times this mid-morning snack is not something that you're going to have a lot of time for. So you want something that you can get down quick, that is going to be efficient, that you can transport, that's going to be really easy. Now for me, what I always do is I always slam a shake when I'm in between sessions in the morning, and I might also have a piece of fruit. This is a good way that we can get our protein in at this meal or at this snack so that we can split our protein in throughout the day and also get some calories so that we can consistently hit those calories throughout the day versus not having a lot of calories at the beginning of the day and then really having to backload at the end of the day. Lunch, this is where this can really vary. You're gonna pick one sort of protein source. This can be chicken, this can be beef, this can be fish, this can be pork, this can be tuna packets. You want some source of protein that's gonna add up to the amount of protein that you need at each meal. You're also gonna pick some sort of carbohydrate source. So what I would pick is some sort of potato, whether it's a red potato, white potato, sweet potato, or you could even opt for some rice, or even whole wheat or regular pasta is a good option at this meal. And then it will also incorporate some sort of veggie and maybe even some sort of fat source like some sort of oil, some sort of avocado, maybe some sort of nut butter. This is a good way where you're gonna get a good blend of all the macronutrients to where you're not just having just protein or just carbs or just fat, you're having all 3 of them at each meal. Your afternoon snack, this might be something where, again, you might do another serving of a protein powder. If you've already done a bar, I wouldn't opt for another bar throughout the day. You could also do things like Greek yogurts, cottage cheese. You can mix some fruit in again. You could do a deli meat sandwich or a tuna sandwich. There's a lot of different options of what this could look like. But again, make sure that you're getting the amount of protein, carbs, and fat that you need at that snack so that you can stay consistent throughout the day so you don't have to eat like 1,500 calories when you go home for dinner. All right, dinner time. Again, you're gonna choose some source of protein. It can be the same one you had at lunch. It can be a different one. Chicken, beef, fish, pork. Those are all good options of good protein sources, and make sure that you're just eating the amount that you need to get the protein that you need at that meal. Also, again, choose a good carbohydrate source. Red potato, white potato, sweet potato, noodles, rice. Those are all going to be really good options for you to eat at that meal. And again, I would mix in some vegetables just to get some micronutrients and some volume in your meal. Depending on how many calories and how high your fat is, this again might be an option to where you might add some oils or some avocados or some butter or some source of fat to boost the calorie content of that meal. Now, for most people, the 3 meals and 2 snacks is where they're going to be. Now, if you need to add another snack before bedtime, again, this is a place where you're going to get more protein, more carbs, and more fat. So what I would recommend is doing, if you haven't done any protein or if you haven't done any protein bars, this is where you could have one of those. If you've done each of those, like I said, you could do cottage cheese, you could do Greek yogurts, you could do another serving of eggs and egg whites. That would be a good protein source before bed. You could add the option of having some toast. You could have the option of adding some nut butter on that toast. And you could also add the option of having another piece of fruit at this meal. So this is what a full day of eating could look like for you. Like I said, this is just an example. This is not a strict guide or a meal plan that you need to follow. It's just an example of at each meal and each snack of things that you could eat to incorporate into your diet to help you get in a caloric surplus. So structure most of your food around whole food sources. And that's going to help you really train hard when you go to the gym. It's going to help you come in, get after your workouts, be in a caloric surplus to where we can add new muscle mass, but we're not just eating fried food and fast food where we're just getting a ton of bad calories to where we're going to put on too much body fat, and that's body fat that you're going to have to cut down later in the process. Now, when you're trying to build muscle mass and you're trying to gain weight, you will add body fat in the process. But if you structure most of your food around whole food sources, you're consistently training hard, you're doing your cardio at least 2 to 3 times a week, and you're eating at a controlled surplus where it's not crazy from the macros that I gave you, you're going to minimize the amount of body fat that you gain, and you're going to have a lot less body fat to chip away at once you finish your bulking process. So this is what a full day of eating and the full bulking nutrition looks like. We have to be eating more calories than our body's burning in order to add new muscle mass. We have to come in, we have to stimulate our muscles, we have to give them a reason to change, we have to consistently come in and work hard in the gym in order to add new muscle mass. So we go in the gym, we create that stimulus, we go home, we eat enough calories in a caloric surplus, eat enough protein, carbs, and fat, and our muscles are going to rebuild up. And it's this really slow process of breaking down, building up, breaking down, building up. But if you can stay consistent with that, I would say no less than 6 months. I would even push it up to like 6 to 12 months for a bulk to be fully effective. You're going to see great progress. You're going to add new muscle mass, and you're going to be really happy with the progress that you make. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button for me. I will leave at the top left-hand corner a full video that I recorded last week. It's 3 ways that you can overload your muscles other than just adding weight. So make sure you go check this one out next, and I'll see you guys in the next one.